Hello there, Chapter 3 review, The End of Faith with Sam Harris. Just had a beautiful day today. We're in late October right now, and it's just had an amazing day. Sunshine. I had a chance to get out, get some fresh air, do some calisthenics. Gonna go for a little bike ride later. Chapter 3, really a horrific chapter in this book, The End of Faith by Sam Harris, detailing, excuse me, all of the things like Inquisition and just horrible, horrible examples of torture. Not a pleasant chapter to read by any means at all. Just really, really harsh. The only thing I could think is how well is history recorded in those days. If somebody is recording history of our current situation today, do we look back 100 years into the future? Are they going to look back at our generation and only see the horrific, the murders in the major cities and the atrocities between different factions that are fighting each other in different places of the world? Will those appear to be ubiquitous across our current the current zeitgeist in which we live, the current, what would you call it? The current atmosphere. Now, we know the current atmosphere that we live in, and we go out, we're getting our products, and we're worried about the current situation with all the COVID and all that. And we know that there's atrocities happening and violence, but not on a scale that we see that Sam Harris evaluates for us in this particular chapter. It's really, really horrific, and it really makes you want to distance yourself from the what you would call the organized church, Catholicism. Now, I was baptized a Catholic, but I was also baptized later in life, so it really sets you back on your heels. And so that's the only kind of, not a defense, but kind of the only, to soften it, if there's any way to soften it. I know that's impossible because of the examples that he gives about witches and the anti-Semitic sentiment that arose and was existent at the time, and the whole thing about blasphemy and the rules of the church using biblical scriptures that were not available to the general population. It was restricted from them until the 1600s, and so they didn't have any knowledge about any knowledge of forgiveness or grace or anything like that. So just a very, very sad time. No wonder they call it Dark Ages, but an eye-opening chapter. So it's harsh. It is harsh. However, he returns again, Sam Harris returns again to the issue of the virgin birth of Christ, and I starting to see this as a type of wedge. Now, oftentimes atheists claim that creationism or intelligent design is used as a wedge for people that adhere to the Christian belief to get in a foothold for theism, if you want to call it that. I would say this is the same foothold for atheism, or I wouldn't call it anti-Christian belief, not suching so harsh. I would call it an attack against Christianity. No, it's not an attack against Christianity. It's a wedge to try and remove one of the foundations of Catholicism, for example, right? So for myself personally, it has absolutely no bearing on me whatsoever. The virgin birth of Christ, no bearing. The Gospel of John is all I need. The Gospel of John tells us that the Word became flesh. He came to earth, dwelt among us. It makes no reference to the condition of his mother. None. So for some people, that's going to be a big issue. The whole virgin birth of Christ thing is going to be a big issue for them. And that is kind of the wedge that he's using here, because the theme keeps returning back to Christianity. That is the major stumbling block, right? For the Romans, foolishness; for the Jews, a stumbling block. And so they stumble over that. They say, hey, he wasn't born of a virgin. The scripture says he's supposed to be born of a virgin. You know what? From where I stand, I'm just saying, if all you had as a record of the history and the words of Christ was the Gospel of John, that would be enough. For and for everyone, it's going to be different. Oh no, it has to be born of a virgin. It has to have this particular doctrine. So this is very valuable, because Sam Harris is trying to break down any footholds that he can, and so this is one of them. I'm not saying that he's against Christianity. I'm just saying that the sentiment seems to return to that particular very important thing for him. Maybe it's not as important for other people, but for him, he's returned to it a couple of times, the virgin birth of Christ, and he definitely has an issue with that. I say, if you're going with John, the Word became flesh. He came to earth. He told us about the Father. He was a Jewish man. He was a rabbi, and he said, this is how you can access the Creator of the universe. Do this, and you'll find him. And so it doesn't make a big difference for me. So I was thinking that this may really start to shake my faith or something like that, and so far it hasn't. It's made me think, and it's made me really take pause and look at the danger of dogma gone rampant. So for sure, definitely valuable to cut you to the quick and say, my, look at this stuff that has happened. Wow, I think it's valuable to be aware of. And so I think we need the message of forgiveness and loving each other and accepting each other as much today as we did back in the Dark Ages. I mean, it's sad. Now, I don't know if they were able to live just as we do today. We live in a relatively peaceful environment where these little pockets of atrocities that are happening and atrocities, I'm sorry, I'm slurring my words here, atrocities are happening, and they get kind of expanded into the news as if that's all that's happening. Now, I don't know if I already mentioned this, so I'm kind of repeating myself, but you know what I mean, right? He's picking out these events that happen in history that were motivated by religious fueled ignorance, and they're horrific. And hopefully moving forward we can avoid that. So his sentiments are very powerful. His ideas are good, solid, logical ideas about what we should be very careful about. Where he veers off and tries to throw out the baby, both figuratively and literally. Christ was born in a manger. The baby came and the angels are, you know the story, right? So he's trying to throw that out too. And there where we say, okay, now wait, let's take a little pause here. Is the virgin birth of Christ mentioned in the Gospel of John? No. Okay. Does it take away from the words and instructions of Christ about how to have peace with God? Is the intention of it. That's the intention of it. How to have peace with God. How to know that you're going to live forever. He said, if you trust in me, you're going to live forever. I mean, who else said that? Did Buddha say it? No. Did other religions say it? They were trying to worship the same God. They were trying to have a clear conscience with God with their own methods. And so it's funny, I recently read a book called God Is Not One, and the title was opposite of what the book described. The book described a plethora of religions that all basically kind of pointed to the same direction, but that's a whole for another video. But anyway, still moving forward. That's the end of chapter 3. Chapter 4 is moving on to another specific religion, so it probably won't be as much interest to me, but so far so good, getting through it, and we'll move forward from there. Thanks for watching.